Space Hulk Deathwing. This is a game I've been really excited for a long damn time. Simply explained, it's a game set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe where you're a bad son of a bitch with some cool ass weapons, and only you are tough enough to accomplish what largely amounts to suicide missions focused on recovering technology and stopping the spread of the Tyrannid swarm. There is a single player and a multiplayer. The single player gives you AI teammates and a heap of story, while the multiplayer allows you to battle the various hives with up to 3 of your friends as you try to survive an hour-long missions aboard massive ships. Now, if that doesn't get your jimmies rustling, I don't really know what will. To be absolutely honest, I've never been one to spend too much time writing in-depth scripts, so I feel it's important that we cut right to the chase. What's my opinion of this game? Well, one side of me is like, oh my freaking god, this game is so freaking cool, my sploots is covering the wall! And then the other side of me is kinda like, these lag spikes are really annoying. Why is my frame rate dropping to 15 on medium graphics? I have a 1060. But then I see the environments, and I'm back to, Jesus freaking Christ, do you see this freaking kids? Oh my god! But then my buddy's client crashes for the 5th time in an hour. So if you want an idea of how you're going to feel if you buy this game right now, it's going to be a mix of a Warhammer fan's wet dream that is worthy of the Empress praise, with maps that really bring the world to life, sort of how Space Marine did half a decade ago. But it also feels about as optimized for general market's use as an orc killer can. All DACA, but kept together by dedicated hopes and dreams. Was that too mean? I feel like that was a little too mean. Seriously though, I really like this game. It's so much fun, and the potential for future content gives me tingly feelings in my innards. But I so wish that the future of this game wouldn't have been hampered by releasing a product that just wasn't quite ready to be seen by the world. A few more weeks or even a month or so of polish might have been the difference between this game getting amazing scores and making a lot of money, or just getting mixed reviews and not making a lot of money. So if you want a list of pros and cons because you hate life and listening to me is grating, here you go. Pros. Great graphics. This game is legit beautiful. There are a few strange things, but for the most part, it's absolute eye candy. Level design and environments. These things are freaking beautiful. I don't think any Warhammer game I've ever seen has ever quite designed such a beautiful 40K setting as this game has. You really get to see just how miserable this universe is. If you're playing on the highest settings, you can even read the sigils on equipment, which detail how they work in typical 40K fashion. And the levels are just so freaking massive. You actually feel like you're trudging along on a massive space Hulk, desperately trying to survive room by room. There's also good weapon and class selection. While most of the weapons largely operate the same, look in that direction and spray, you really start to notice the difference when the difficulty is bumped up, and just how vital it is to have an apothecary or a tactical when you're fighting gene stealers, hybrids, broodlords, and warriors. Multiplayer. This should have been the largest focus for the developers because it is by far the most fun. Seriously, this game is very similar to Vermintide. The multiplayer is phenomenal. Why was so little effort put into it? It makes no sense. And my final pro, this is seriously the best depiction of aliens I've ever seen in a video game. Seriously, with a couple of reskins and a brand name change, you could call this Aliens, what Colonial Marines should have been. I feel like I might have triggered a few people with that one. And now, cons. First off, this game is terribly optimized. In a large open room, I'll get 60 plus FPS on the highest setting, while engaging in a massive firefight with hybrids. 5 minutes later, I'll be in a tightly packed corridor, and 4 gene stealers will charge me and my FPS will tank to 20, if not lower. Crashes, way too frequent. I mean, they are abundant. Starting a game, I'm guaranteed to have at least one of my fellow Terminators crash on level start, and throughout the whole hour-long mission, at least one of my players will crash 2 times. I myself, through about 6 hours of gameplay, have crashed between 4 and 5 times. Missed opportunities. These aren't really cons, but seriously, missed opportunities. Like armor customization for Terminators. Why wasn't that just something in there? That just seems like something that would be in there. Passive bonuses from sigils sigils. Say you're like the hero of Caliban, or like you've been on 5 Space Hulks already, or maybe even some stat screens that just keep track over time of how many Gene Stealers you've killed, or how many Space Hulks have you cleared without dying. You know, stuff like that that's just not there in the game, which make a lot of sense and just aren't there. And then having more customizable game options in multiplayer, like limiting what weapons can be chosen if you choose Codex rules. Or I somehow find it kind of hard to believe you can have 3 Spears of Caliban. Seriously, having 3 Spears of Caliban is absolutely ridiculous. Hilarious, but ridiculous. It's a machine gun plasma cannon. Like, what the hell is that? Side note, wouldn't it have been awesome if you could actually play as the hive mind in multiplayer? So like, you could have 4 Terminators and then 1 Hive Mind, and the Hive Mind controls like the Gene Stealers where they spawn, and the goal of the Hive Mind is to stop the Terminators from basically accomplishing their mission. That would have been so cool. But again, I understand that's probably a bit of a stretch for missed opportunities, but it was worth mentioning anyway. Finally, my end-all verdict for Space Hulk Deathwing is that it is awesome, but it's very rough. Don't buy it yet if you haven't already, unless you're a die-hard 40k fan. It really needs some love and polish to make it that finished game that we all want. And I believe from what I've seen so far that the developers do actually have the ability to accomplish that goal, assuming they made enough money to continue the project. P.S. I really hope you did make that money, because I fucking love this game and I want more time in it. If it would just stop freaking crashing!